Today I want to show you a simple process that will help you solve 95% of the basic or introduction classic Sudoku puzzles that you'll come across. Sudoku, of course, as you know, is made up of a large square which has 9 columns and 9 rows. Within the 9 columns and 9 rows, you'll also find that it's made up of 9 3x3 tables. These are them right here. Now, each column, each row, and each table must contain the numbers 1 through 9. What I do is a 3-step process. In step 1, what I do is I work with the individual tables going across. So I work horizontally from left to right. So what I do is I look for any combination where there's 2 numbers, for example, a 3 here and a 3 here. So since there's a 3 in row 1, a 3 in row 2, I know that there has to be a 3 in row 3. I know that it has to be in the third table because that's the one that's missing it. However, when I first look at it, I can't put it anywhere because the 3 could be either here or it could be here. But we don't know which, so we have to leave it blank. So then we go on and we look at the next one, which is 2 4s. Again, this could be a 4 or a 4, but we don't know which. Finally, though, we look at the 5s and we find that there's a 5 here and a 5 here. That tells us that the middle row has to have a 5 in the middle table, and there's only one spot it can go, so we know that that has to be a 5. Now, 6s, 7s, 8s, and 9s, there's no sets of 2 that we can work with. So then we're going to repeat that first step again, this time with the middle set of tables. The first duplicate we find is a 3s. We find that there's a 3 here in the second row, a 3 here in this first row. So we know that the 3 would be down here. But when we look down here, we find that there's a 3 in this spot, so we know it can't be there because that's already 1 3 in that column. So now we know that this spot right here has to have a 3, and we can fill that in. There's 3 of the 6s, so there's nothing there. The 7, there's 1 in row 1, 1 in row 2, so we can come down here and say there must be a 7 in that spot right there because it's the only open spot in that one. We have an 8 in row 2 and an 8 in row 1. So that tells us that row 3 has to contain an 8, but it could be here or here since this is the square that doesn't have an 8 in it. But we don't know which one it would be, so we have to leave that blank. We go on to the 9s and we find that there's 3 9s. So now we're going to go ahead and repeat that same process with the bottom set of squares. This row, and this row. We have a 2 in the second row, a 2 in this third row. So we know that this third table has to contain a 2 either here or here. There's already a 2 in that column here. So we know that the 2 must go right there. So 3 here and a 3 here. So that tells us that this grid or table has to contain a 3. It can't be this column because there's a 3 there. Can't be this column because there's a 3 up there, so we can put a 3 right there. Finally, we get a 9 here and a 9 here in this grid. So that tells us that this spot here, bottom row, has to contain a 9 because it's the only open spot in that third row. So we put our 9 there. Now, having finished the left to right first check, we do the exact same thing, but this time we're going to go with these 3 tables coming down, left side, then the middle set of 3 tables, then the right set of 3 tables. Now we run through 1 through 9 and we don't have any hits on 1 through 8, but on the 9s we have a 9 here, we have a 9 here, which means that this middle column has to have a 9 up in this one here, and there's only one spot, so we fill in our 9, and now we're ready to go on and do that same process with the middle set of 3 tables. Alright, so no hits for 1, 2, and 3. Well, 3's already filled up completely. The 4s, though, we have a 4 here in this first column, a 4 in this third column. So we know the middle column and the bottom table has to have a 4. There's only one spot where it can go, so we fill in our 4. and now we're ready to continue. We find a 7 in the third column, a 7 in the first column, so we know that this particular table has to contain a 7 in the middle column. There's only one spot, so we fill it in and continue. All right, that takes us through that set of 3. So now we're going to do the 3 tables on the right hand side, and we find a 2 here, a 2 here, so we know that the middle column has to have a 2, and it has to be up in this table here. It's only one spot, so we put our 2 in and we continue our search. A 3 in this middle column, a 3 in the right hand column means that the 3 has to be in one of these 3 spots here in the first column. There's already a 3 in that row. There's already a 3 in that row, so we know that the 3 goes there. And we continue. All right, there's a 5 here and a 5 here, but we don't know whether the 5 goes here, here, or here, so we have to leave it alone. Okay, 6 and 6 tells us one of these 3 has to be a 6. It has to be this one or this one, but we don't know which, so we continue on. Okay, 8's the same thing. We have an 8 here and an 8 here, but it could go in either one of these 2 spots, so we don't know what, and we leave it blank. And then we have a 9 and a 9. So again, one of these 2 spots has to be a 9. This row has a 9, so we know the 9 goes there. Now, at this point, I could say, now I can go back and put the 8 in here. But I don't bother trying to do that. I just continue on to my process. Having done the first 3 tables across left to right horizontally, and having done a second set of 3 tables going down vertically from top to bottom, I now repeat that process, and I'm going to go back up and do the 3 tables horizontally again, starting with the number 1. Now, I find a 4 in the top row, a 4 in the middle row, so I know that the third table has to contain a 4 in the bottom row, so it would go right there. I don't find any extra ones that I can put in the middle set of 3 tables, so now I'm going to come down and go again left to right with the bottom set of 3 tables. I don't find any new entries there, so now I'm going to go back to the 3 tables going vertically or down. So I'll go back to this first set of tables coming down and start the down process. But now, since this is the second pass through, I will do something slightly different. Watch this. No hits in the first 3 coming down, so I now work the middle set of 3 tables coming down. My first hit will be the 6s. I find a 6 here and a 6 here. This tells me that this column, top table, has to contain a 6. There's already a 6 in that row, so it's not this spot. So I know that the 6 has to go here. Now, since this is my second pass through here, I'm now going to break the rule and go to phase 2. In phase 2, when I put in a number here, I'm going to also look to the left and right of it. So now I've got a 6 here and a 6 here. So I know one of these 2 spots has to be a 6. Now there's no hits on that first one, but that's the process that we'll be using. Our first hit is the 8s. We have an 8 in this last column. We have an 8 in this middle column. So we know that this particular table is going to have an 8 right in that first column. Now again, we did that going up, so now we'll work our way across. We have an 8 here and an 8 here, which tells us an 8 has to go up there. Then we'll follow that down. We have an 8 here and an 8 here, which means that either here or here would be an 8. Of course, we don't know what, so we have to leave it blank. That brings us to the 9s, and they're all complete. Now we're ready to go to step 3. In step 3, or phase 3, what we do is we look for any row, any column, and any 3x3 table that only has one empty or missing square in it. So let's take a look and see what we can find. Well, this column right here is missing one entry, so we see what it is. 1, 2, 3. It's missing the 4s. So we know that a 4 has to go there. Having put a 4 there, we'll now go left and right and up and down. So going vertically up and down, I have a 4 in this column, 4 in this column. So I look here to this guy, and he's got a 4 already, So I know that that 4 has to be right there. Now I go to cross 4 and 4. 4 here. Means that one of these two has to be a 4. This column has a 4, so I put a 4 there. Now I bring him down 4, 4. That means one of these two has to be a 4, but I don't know which. I come back to this 4 that we put in. We already followed him up. Now we'll follow him to the left. We'll go 4 here. 4 here means here or here. Ah, this guy has a 4 in it, so we know this has to be a 4. And so we now have that completed. Now we come back here and we look for the next table, the next row, next column, or next table, 3 by 3 table that only has 1 missing. This guy's 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah, he's missing the 7. We put a 7 there, follow across, 7 in this guy going across, 7 here means the 7 has to be here or here. This has a 7, so 7 goes there. I come down, 7 means the 7's going to be down here. I try and come across, 7 and 7 means the 7 would be here, and that brings us up. Now I come down to the next one that's only missing 1. This particular table here is missing the 1, so I put the 1 in, and I see, can I take it anywhere? 1 here means 1's going to go here. 1 here means either this column or this column has to be a 1. We don't know what, so we have to leave it. Now I'm going to go left to right on this one that we put in. Go 1 here. Oh, that's as far as I can take that. Let's look for another column, row, or table that only has missing 1. Now I don't see any, so now I go to look for any column, row, or table that's only missing 2. I prefer to work with the columns and rows first, for example, especially one that goes across individual line. For example, these 2 are missing, but they're within the same set of tables. But that's all right, we'll still look at this. So what's missing? Well, the 1 is missing and the 2 is missing. So we know that here or here has to be a 1. It can't be this middle spot because there's already a 1 in that row. So we know that a 1 goes right there. Now again, we follow him through. There's nothing to follow up and down, but going across we have a 1 and a 1, which means that this guy coming across these 3 rows has to have a 1. Now we can work him. We have columns going up, so we have a 1 and a 1, so 1 comes over here. And we have a 1 here and a 1 here, means one of these 2 has to be a 1. But we don't know what it is, so we're done. We come back to this row here. Remember we said he was missing the 1 and the 2. So now he's only missing 1, so it has to be the 2. 2, 2. See this 2, this row, 2. So top row of that set of squares has to be a 2. 2 in this column. 2 in this column means one of these 2 spots is a 2. Can't be this spot here because there's already 2 in that row. So we put our 2 in there. Now if we have a 2 here and a 2 here, one of these 2 must be a 2. But this column already has a 2. So we put our 2 over here. Now we come down and we say, all right, let's go back to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, he's missing a 6 in that one. A 6 comes there. He's fine. 6 comes down. Up. Got a 6 in this third column. 6 in the middle column. So the first column of that set has to be the 6. 6 comes across. 6 in this row. 6 in this row. Means that this row has to be the 6. And that completes him. Let's go ahead and do this little table now. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's missing a 5. That completes this whole set. 5 across. Well, it could be here or here. Now, this breaks the rule in a sense because I don't have a 5 here, but look at this. We know that if the 5 has to be in either this top row of one of these 2 or the middle row, one of these 2, this particular table, the only thing it has left other than the bottom, which can't contain a 5 because there's already a 5 in that row, so we know the missing 5 has to go right there. If that 5 goes there, now we know that this guy could be here or here, but we don't know which one, so we'll leave him blank. Now, if you want, you could not use that approach, but there's nothing wrong with using it. I'll go ahead and solve the puzzle without using that approach. just to show you that the same process will work. But keep that last tip in mind because it will come in handy when you work on medium or advanced Sudoku puzzles. All right, again, this table here is missing one spot only. It's missing the 1. Since there's a 1 in this column and a 1 in the middle column, we know that the bottom table has to contain a 1 here or here. Can't be in this row because there's already a 1 there. So we know that 1 goes there. Now we'll go to this table. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, he's missing a 5, so we put our 5 in. We have a 5 in the top row, a 5 in the middle row. So we know that here or here has to be a 5. But again, we don't know which, so we're going to continue looking. This particular row here is missing only 1, so let's see what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, he's missing a 5 here. See, we can go up now. 5 in the third column, 5 in the middle column means that this first column has to have a 5, so it would go right there. Now this guy's only missing 1, so let's see what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, he's missing the 8, so we can put the 8 in there. We have an 8 here and an 8 here, which means that this position here has to be an 8. Now we can go here and say 1, 2, 3, 4. Up the 5 that we were looking for earlier. Oops, that's an 8. The 5 right there goes there. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the last position is an 8. And we have solved our Sudoku puzzle.